I think she's actually stuck this time. Oh, yep, actually got stuck. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Beautiful day today. A few weeks ago, I watched a video on a robotic lawnmower, and I've seen quite a few of them. And I've always thought that it's a cool concept, but I really don't think that any of those mowers that I've seen would have the ability to actually handle my yard. My lawn is not perfectly manicured like some of the videos that you've seen these robotic lawnmowers running on. I mean, I've got hills and ruts and obstacles, and I just thought none of them are ever going to be able to handle my yard. Especially not the ones that only have the 3 wheels. But I saw a video on the Navimow X4 from Average Joe. And he showed the capabilities and showed how it handled a lot of the obstacles in his yard. And I thought, this one might actually be able to do it. So I left him a comment and thanked him and put in the comment that, hey, this actually gives me some confidence that robotic lawnmowers might be able to actually handle some of the obstacles in my yard. Well, Navimow reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in putting it to the test in your yard? And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a look at the Navimow X430. So I'm gonna bring you along and we're gonna see together, can it actually handle the obstacles in my yard? So let's get started. Some of the different obstacles that I have in my yard, when I have to mow, I've got hills along the edge of the driveway that are so steep that it forces me to use the push mower. When we mow in the backyard, there's ruts all over the place, so you can see that the mower's just bouncing all over. We've got tree ruts and ducks and chickens. I mean, it literally is an obstacle course of a yard. So I did already cut the bands off of this box. There were, I believe, 4 bands holding it all together. All right, so we've got what looks to be the base of the charging station. A handful of different screws, which I kind of like that it comes in little plastic cases. That just kind of makes it easy. Keep things sorted. And oh, you know what these are? These are the replacement blades. I thought these were like assembly screws, but hopefully you can see that. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 sets of blades in here. I don't know if I have to put these on the mower. So I might have 2 replacement sets of blades and then 2 that go on the mower initially. We do have our manual, and I believe it has warranty information. Looks like some extension cable, power supply for the charging base, 224 watts, outputs 32 volts at 7 amps. An accessory box, it's like ground screws, antennas, pole adapters. Here's poles for the RTK, EFLS, Exact Fusion Locating System. I think you only need this. So they have I think it's called a NetRTK, which is available in some areas, which means that you don't have to use like a physical RTK. I don't know if it's available where I am or not. So we're gonna find out. And then the monster. And this thing is big. So this is gonna be the top of your charging station. And then your X4 is actually gonna connect here for charging. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, I'm still kind of skeptical if this is actually gonna work in my yard, but I am excited to see if it's going to. I'm excited to put it to the test. Let's put it like that. When I first look at this thing, I don't know if you guys growing up ever had one of those remote control RC cars. That's what this reminds me of, just on a much bigger scale. I mean, I had multiple remote control cars growing up, and it kind of looked like this. So to give you an idea of scale, we're at like 30 inches front to back. Width from wheel to wheel, we're at 24 inches. And then the highest point on here is about 13 3/4 inches. I mean, look at my table. This thing's taken up almost the entire table. So looking at the front, we've got multiple cameras and sensors right up here on the front. This does say 360 vision fence right there. Right in here is where the charging dock is going to connect to charge the battery. It does have a squishy bumper here, which feels like it has impact sensors inside so that if it hits something, it should stop. Looks like a couple of lights on the front as well. On the side here, we have a side-facing camera, and then these wheels. I mean, huge ribbed wheels. And then I mentioned the zero turning radius of the wheels a little bit ago. So these wheels can actually turn complete 90 degrees, I believe, forwards and backwards. Both the front and the rear tires have the ribs on them to help with getting through, hopefully, any obstacle. It does have this kind of sleek airfoil design. This is just kind of neat. I don't know if they're actually using this for cooling or if it's just to make it look slick, kind of transformery, or I think, what did Average Joe say? Looks like the Batmobile. On the back, we mentioned earlier, we've got a lifting handle, and then we've got Navimow along the back. I don't know if this is actually going to be lit up or not. Be kind of cool if it was like the brake light look. That'd be sweet. And then we come to the other side, and again, it's pretty much a mirror of the opposite side. And then on top, we have our power button. Looks like a few controls, either a back or an enter button, and then an emergency stop, and our display. And before we get too far, I think this thing's like 70 pounds. Oh my goodness. Whoa, that's cool. You can kind of see like the suspension, how this thing just kind of moves side to side when I try to lift up the front. All right, so here's underneath. So your cutting deck is 18 inches wide. Here's the battery compartment right here. And then the wheels all seem to have like independent suspension, except for the rear. The rear has one solid suspension across the back, and it hinges in the middle, but just looks pretty slick. We looked at the dimensions. The weight is 63 pounds, almost 64 pounds. The 430 has a recommended mowing area of 1 acre. They do have a 450, which is 1.5 acres. Cutting width 17 inches, cutting height 3/4 of an inch all the way up to 4 inches, which is really nice. Charge time 90 minutes. Sound is 68 decibels. This does have an IP66 rating on the mower itself. Maximum incline that this is able to be used on is 84% incline. And again, this does have all-wheel drive. It does have that zero turn ability. And it also uses satellite NetRTK for wire-free boundary navigation paired with AI vision fence. So let me grab the manual and see what we need to do first to set this thing up. All right, so step 1, activate the mower. We'll download the Navimow app, and while that's downloading, we will press and hold the button right here. Navimow, powered by Segway. Got a yellow light coming up here. In the app, we're going to open it up. Acknowledge. Looks like I need to create an account. All right, so we need to add a device. Device is powered on. Allow Bluetooth. Navimow.
Connected.
Oh, it said that it was connected. Press the OK button to complete pairing. Paired successfully. Set a pin. Navimow Connect. Free for 1 year. After activation, we'll enable it and just see what happens. Connect to Wi-Fi. And activate. Activation successful. NetRTK. The NetRTK service is supported in your area, which means we don't need to install the antenna. And it says high accuracy and positioning. Why are we beeping? Enjoy the convenience of this service as it already been activated. Take the items out of the box and lay them on the lawn. Put the antenna and the installation tools into the box for future use. Sweet. Do not cover the charging station. Install on a soft and flat surface. Then we'll take our charging cable, and on the back of here, the back of the dock, there's a lightning and then an antenna cable. We want to use the power cable. Line up the arrows, and then make sure it's nice and locked in for a good water seal. And this is actually going to click. Oh, there's a lip. So you've got to rock it in and then give it a little pressure and it'll lock itself in. Okay. So once we've got power to the dock, we're going to set the mower into the dock. I don't know if you can see the screen, but it says 57% charging. Press OK to use. So I want you to wait about 5 minutes so that you can make sure that you've got a good signal. Okay, so we can see here in the app, we slid the mower into the charging station, hit next. Congratulations, you can start mapping and mowing. Now it tells me that I can go through and secure the ground screws and the cables because they give little T-stakes for the cable so that you don't have your cable moving all over the place too. Navimow will be updated automatically, view updates. Oh, looks like there's quite a few updates. So we'll let it run through its updates. Update now. And on the screen it says, software updating, do not press any buttons until the update is done. So in that accessory box that we looked at, it does come with some cable stakes, and they even give you an Allen wrench for those screws. Boy, if you guys could see what I could see right now, the chickens are all behind the camera. They all want to know what this thing is too. It's going to be funny to see what they do. So we will take one of our ground screws, 6 ground screws, 3 per side. Hopefully all this is meant to do is just keep stuff from sliding forward and backwards when it's parking. Firmware update completed. So mowing schedule, work mode, set the height. Allow for mowing at night. We can do our mapping. Hopefully we can do multiple mappings where some is auto and some is manual. Mowing reports. Camera assisted positioning. Animal friendly. When enabled, if the mower detects an animal from a distance, it will turn around and change its path to avoid disturbing them, although, I don't know, we'll turn this on for now. We'll see how it does. Traction control. Yeah, we'll probably, with my yard, we're probably going to want that. Weather adaptive. This does have a built-in rain sensor, so if it detects rain, it will go back home. Anti-theft. Yeah, probably a good idea. This says Find My. So you can bind it to Find My. That's kind of neat. Signal Analyzer. Analyze. Quite a few satellites visible to it. That's kind of nice. Is there more updates? Oh, looks like there's more. Do not operate or move the mower when it's in progress. Kind of figured that there'd be quite a few updates. We're at 79% battery, so we're going to create a map. It's auto mapping. What type of lawns? Got it. Remove obstructions from the lawn perimeter. Lens should be clear. See, I'm in the zone, so I'm in the zone. All right. It's gonna do its thing. Oh, see, those wheels are sweet. I don't know where it's gonna go though. Oh, it's calibrating. Okay, now I'm getting flashbacks to like when I was a kid. That's cool. It's pretty sensitive. Okay, let's mark that as a zone. Auto mapping in progress. Well, you can see if we close the app, we'll notify when it's complete. So you can see in the app that it's mapping everything out. Well, it got to that back corner where all the trees were, and then it said that it was done. So now it looks like it's heading back to its charging station. So let's see how it does going into the charging station. See if those stakes hold. Oh yeah, this slow approach.
Charging starts.
Charging starts. And then it told me in the app to edit any tweaks that I need to do. Global cutting height. I don't know. Let's try 3 inches and just see what it does. But I believe you've seen all the rest of the settings that I have. So we're just gonna start mowing
Mowing starts.
and let it do its thing. Because I don't know how it's gonna work. one-time mowing. Boy, that is so quiet. Can you even hear it? After I get done with this first mow back here, I'll have to see what all I have to adjust from like the no-go areas, as well as potentially the cutting height, because I really don't know. Every mower is different. It might say that it's got a specific height, but they're all going to be different. So mine's at 3 inches right now, and 3 inches might be too high. But then again, we also haven't had much rain, so we haven't had a whole lot of growth. I thought it was going to get stuck. This is super quiet, so I really don't have any problems with it mowing at night. But let's let it do its thing and see how it does. So it is almost 10:30 at night, and during the live stream I got a little notification. Let's see here, that the lawnmower went back to the charging station because the power was low, and it went through and recharged up to 95%, which you can see on screen, and now it is back to normal, or back to mowing, I guess. But I wanted to come out here at night so that you could see what it looks like and what it sounds like with this thing running at night. So it has the little headlights so that the sensors can see, and it's just driving around. So yeah, there you go. There's your noise. I mean, you almost might hear the mower wheels, the motors, louder than the actual blades spinning. Well, it's the next morning, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's all these kind of angled lines here from where the mower went through and cut everything down last night. I know you're not going to be able to tell height very well. I mean, honestly, I can't tell height very well just because of the way that the ground rolls a bit and how dry some of the grass has been. Yeah, you hear the chickens. Well, you guys coming to say hi. But it was working last night, into the night. At some point around midnight or 11 or 12:30, I think it ended up going back because it needed to recharge. So right now, for some reason, it says mower disconnected, but it's back in its spot. I mean, it did some wide paths around just the obstacles, but for auto mapping, I think it did really well. I know earlier it was going super wide over here. I think somewhere right in here. But I noticed that even later it went back over those areas. Yeah, you can tell it's been doing stuff. It's got chicken and duck poop all over the wheels. And then grass clippings. it's
Connected.
having issues with the cell service out here, because just about everything has issues with the cell service. Well, I'll have to figure out the positioning problem, but it probably is just my area here. Well, it's another new day. I didn't get to play around nearly as much as I wanted to yesterday because last night we went to a drone show down at Wayne State University. That was pretty cool. But I ended up, oh look, they're actually hanging around this thing. That's funny. They're like, what is it? Honestly, I'm waiting to see like some chickens sitting on top of it, you know, using the handle as a roosting bar or something, and find poop all over the top. But anyways, yesterday I ended up running into a couple of issues where I kept having poor signal messages popping up when the mower was in the dock. And I had a handful of messages yesterday morning when it was trying to finish mowing in the backyard about NetRTK loss, signal loss. And it was at different points in the yard. And so ultimately I think I have to move the location of the charging station, mostly because I didn't read the instructions where it said you have to be so far away from a building. Because as you could tell, I put it right up against the metal building and it's having issues receiving signal while it's right next to that building. And then just kind of the nature of my yard with a lot of the trees and the coverage, it seems like I might be having issues just receiving the signal from the NetRTK all the time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But because of the tree coverage, I'm just not getting that solid signal. But Navimow thought of that and knew there were going to be some places where the NetRTK wouldn't be able to cover things. And so they included a local RTK antenna, which you can stake in the ground or mount on the side of a building. It needs a clear line of sight to the sky. And it needs to be, you know, a certain distance away from buildings and that kind of stuff, just so that it can get that full line of sight. So the dock is going to have to move to a new spot, but instead of carrying this 70-pound mower across the yard, I opened up the app and I'm going to use the manual RC control feature to drive the mower over to its new home. The local RTK just has a couple of poles. You've got your actual antenna on top. The instructions are very straightforward on how to set this up. So I think I'm just going to look at putting it here for right now. There. We'll take our cable. I believe there's arrows on both of these connections. Line up the two arrows. And then this is another one of those connections you want to make sure it's completely sealed for no water intrusion. So you've got your power cable right here and your local RTK cable right here. And now I don't have any easily accessible power here, but in the box they do give you an extension cable for the power block. So then I'll be able to run this from here back over behind there. And if needed, I believe they do actually sell an extension cable for the antenna, because the pinouts on the power block and the antenna cable are different. So you can't just swap out this extension cable for the antenna. Oh, I guess I need to switch to the local RTK first. So I have to hit the gear. Local RTK. And so it walks you through the installation steps. Here we go, installed. Recheck. Okay. So now we'll see how the local RTK works. Oh, dual antennas, fancy. Okay, so now we go back through the creating the map and let it do its thing. So mapping for zone 1 is now done. And so now I want to move over and do the manual mapping on probably the hardest place in my property this thing's going to get tested on. And that's by my driveway where I have a hill. So to make a new zone, see, we have to click that middle map icon and it opens up this map page. We're going to hit add more and we want to add a boundary. It took me a minute to figure out exactly what I was looking to, what I had to do to add a zone, because the boundary didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But boundary is the term that they use. So we're going to do manual mapping. Remote control the lawnmower to the edge of the lawn and then start mapping. Okay, so we've reached the section of yard that I've really been worried about. I don't know if you can even see in the camera. It is kind of hilly right here. But then as I move over here towards the edge of the driveway, like that slope right there, and it'll be interesting to see how much the camera can actually see. But I mean, this is kind of like a rock wall here, so we're not doing the entire slope. We kind of come down to about right here. So slope, 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 and then it finally starts to level off up there. So let's drive this thing up onto the edge here and hit my starting point. And so I have to kind of make it go up the hill and around the rocks. And now we'll get to this edge here and see how it does. Because remember, I have to push mow whatever this thing can't do. So far, so good. I'm trying to get it close, but keep it away from the edge. All right, so right about here is probably the steepest angle. So I just kind of want to see. I mean, it's not feeling like it wants to tip at all, which is pretty slick. I mean, it's got a nice low center of gravity. So let's have it keep going. The interesting thing will be when it actually starts to mow this. Oh, that's even steeper right there. Those treaded tires, though, definitely seem to help a lot. Because even my push mower slides. All right, now we turn it. Now it has to climb up the hill. And that's where this treaded tires really are going to come into play. I mean, it does a really good job. It didn't seem to struggle, slip, or slide at all, which is awesome. Oh. Getting a little stuck. And then to delete, you just press and hold the erase button on top and it kind of rolls backwards, which is kind of neat. Then let it turn and then bring it right back to where we started. Done. So I've got a bunch of different zones created, trying to get a lot of the different areas that I have to go through and push mow, use the rider on. And I've created some channels between the individual zones, but I wanted to show you just how to create a channel. So we're going to create a channel from this zone here back towards the charging station. I don't know if I have to go all the way to the charging station, but that's kind of what I'm going to do. Come to think of it, I might not have to. I might just need to go to the actual edge of the zone. So we'll find out. So we're going to hit add more. We're going to do a channel. So the channel is going to connect zone to zone. Remote control the boundary to the edge, to the starting point on the boundary. When the mower displays the solid blue light, tap start. So we'll come right up to the edge. Reach starting point. And then I don't typically mow this back here because this is the barnyard where the horse ends up getting let out sometimes to eat. So why take away something that I would then have to pay for in feed? And then Ian opened up the gate, which that brings up another potential issue that we have that I'll talk about here in a minute. And now we're in this zone. And we will hit save map. And so now it's going to go through and write everything to the mower itself. And now hopefully everything works. Quit mapping. So now I should be able to just say, go home. And then it makes its way home. But I mentioned a minute ago, Ian had to open up the gate. So it doesn't really do a whole lot of good having a robot mower that's supposed to do things automatically when you have to constantly keep coming outside to open up the gate to let it out. And that's where Navimow has done something that I haven't seen anybody else do. So the Navimow MowGate allows you to forget about needing to open up a gate if you have a fenced-in area that you want mowed. It's also a super easy installation, regardless of the fencing type. You can use it on wooden fences, mesh fences, or even rod-style fences. I think on our wood fence, it might have taken us 30 minutes to get the whole thing done. It's got batteries in it that should last all season. It's going to automatically unlock once your mower gets right up to the gate, and then your mower just drives right through, and its spring-loaded doors will close as soon as your mower passes right through, and then it locks back up, making sure that whatever's supposed to stay inside your fenced-in area stays where it's supposed to be, and doesn't let anything in that shouldn't be in your fenced-in area. All right, well, this is going to be our last area that needs to be significantly tested. Here's our first edge here. Looked like it was almost going to roll backwards. I know that the height is definitely going to have to be adjusted a bit. Oh, is it gonna go right over the edge? Good grief. No, it stopped. Yeah, I don't know how close it's gonna try and get. Yeah, see, that's way too far down. Nope. I think she's actually stuck this time. Oh. Yep, actually got stuck. Well, that's too bad. Oh, wait a second, what's it doing? Is it actually going to be able to get out of this? I mean, it can go down, but I don't want it to, because then it's going to have problems going back up. And this is fine on this side, but not on the side where there's rocks. So is it going back around? Yeah, it looks like it is. So it's not trying to go back up the hill, which is super interesting. All right, well, it's working its way back to where it was. Are we gonna end up running into the same problem? See, it's doing better now. As long as it doesn't try and go too far down. All right, folks, what's it gonna do? Is it gonna go over the edge and see down on the rocks here, it's gonna end up getting stuck because it'll end up bottoming out. It's not doing anything crazy like it did on the other part of the hill. I probably will need to make it go through this area twice, just so that it can catch all these little stragglers. Cool. It did a whole lot better on this side than it did on the other one. Yeah, the dogs hear me next door. And it's still on top of the hill. Inside the zone, so sweet. All right, I'm gonna just let it do its thing. And I'm gonna head back inside. So I have been using the Segway Navimow X430 for the last several weeks, letting it take care of all of the lawn around my house. And let me tell you, it's pretty nice not having to pull that mower out every week. So if we take a look at the app here, you can see probably behind me, the mower is going through and finishing up zone 1 for the day. I have a schedule set Mondays and Fridays that it starts at 10 o'clock and goes through 6 o'clock. and it'll mow through every zone. And if we look at the mowing report, it says that I have mowed 72,000 square feet and I have saved 20 and a half hours, and this thing is still probably going to be mowing for another hour or two back here. Most of my zones are set up to alternate direction each time it mows, so it won't mow the same direction each time. You can see right now we're kind of doing a horizontal cut right now in the backyard, but overall it has done a really good job. We take a look at some of the areas that it has actually gone through and mowed. You can see the lines. You'd probably see them a whole lot better if we had a lot more rain here and the grass wasn't as brown, but every time it goes through, you can see the lines and the direction that it is mowed. It does a pretty decent job of getting up nice and close to different objects. I have intentionally not weed whacked different areas so that I can show you, or at least try and show you, how close that it can get to the different objects. Maybe if we come over here, there you go. So you can see over here it's been cut, and the closer you get to the slide, it hasn't been cut. So you might be looking at 8 inches. So it gets as close as it can to mow. And you saw when we looked underneath the mower that it's got some space between the actual mower blades and the edge. So it does leave a little bit of trimming for you. I'm still waiting on a decent robotic mower that can handle trimming. And if we can find one that can do hedge trimming, that would be awesome, because then that would save me even more time. But I live in the country, so I don't have to trim every week. I don't have to trim every 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks before I actually pull the trimmer out, but it looks like I will have to pull the trimmer this weekend. I was wondering how the object avoidance, the vision fence object avoidance was going to work on this. It really does seem to do well when things move throughout the yard. It almost seems like if there's something in the way, it might go around it and then come back later and try and get that area again. I did take this clip of the mower going near all the ducks and the chickens, and I thought it was really kind of interesting, partially because the ducks and the chickens they don't really seem to care about it very much anymore. I mean, when we first got it, they were like, what is that? And then they try to stay away. So let me talk about some pros and cons about the X430 while you're continuing to see it mowing behind me. I'm going to start with the cons first, and these are in no particular order. So while you can schedule tasks for certain times of the day, and you can pick what zones you want to be mowed, or you can say just mow all of them, it would be nice if you could designate a zone order. So mow zone 1 first, then move to zone 3, then move to zone 6. And I would rather not have to say, well, you have to mow these zones between 7 and 10 a.m., and then you have to mow these zones between 10 and 2 p.m. It would just be easier if I could say, just mow in this order starting at 10 o'clock. You basically just have to set a wide net and say, okay, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., you can use this whole window to mow. Another con is sometimes when the mower is moving between zones or even moving to a different area in an existing zone, it might drive right over top of the freshly cut lawn because it's trying to find the straightest point to get to where it needs to cut next. So if you've got all your lines nice and cut this way, sometimes it might make a beeline straight across and kind of mess up that look of the nice clean lines. Along with the lines, I know that you can designate a different angle each time that it goes through and mows a zone. So that's great. And if you want, it even has some predefined patterns that you can cut into your lawn, make it look like a puppy or a star, different things like that. That's cool. But you can't do a checkerboard pattern. You can't have it mow one way and do the entire zone that way and then turn around and then go back the other way to get a nice clean checkerboard pattern. The only way that I've seen to be able to do this is if you say from 11 to 12, mow it this way. And then from 12 to 1, then you come back to the same zone and mow it this way. I mean, it's a workaround, but it'd be nice if I could just say, checkerboard. Another con that a lot of people are going to see, and rightfully so, is it is not cheap. I think it's like $2,500. It is an investment. It's the same amount or even more depending on the type of mower that you look at buying. It is a significant investment, but let me give you some reasons why, in the pros, why it might be a worthwhile investment to you. So for me, one big pro is when this thing recharges, it recharges off my solar bank. So I'm not paying for anything from the grid to recharge the battery. That 224 watts is coming straight from my battery bank or straight from the sun. And along the same lines, there's really not much maintenance that you have to perform on this thing. You don't have to mess with refilling the gas or running to the gas station or putting oil in it. The app will tell you when you need to change the blades, and it'll also tell you when you need to go through and hose the thing down and give it a good clean. But other than that, it's going to do its thing on the schedule that you have set, and you can go do other things. One of the big things that I thought was going to prevent me from being able to have one of these robotic mowers was just the terrain that I have. Some of the hills, some of the ruts, some of the divots in the ground. I mean, these chickens love to take dirt baths, and so they're constantly digging new holes all over the place. But this mower, I have yet to see get stuck anywhere because of the zero-turn wheels and the all-wheel drive wheels. It might look like it's stuck, as we saw earlier, but then it just stops and thinks, backs up, and hits it from another angle. Like most newer robotic mowers, it's a wire-free setup. Depending on your area, you might have the NetRTK that can be used full-time. And if not, they give you the local RTK, which is great because I started with the NetRTK and ended up having to switch to the local RTK just because I was kind of getting spotty coverage from the NetRTK. I think one of the easiest pros to recognize with this mower is just the fact that it is so quiet. Especially when you compare it to a traditional gas mower. Another big pro, which I haven't seen anybody else do, and I mentioned this before, is having the MowGate. The biggest part of my yard is all fenced in, and I did not want to have to come out and open the gate, let it go through, close the gate every time. That defeats the purpose. We looked at earlier, but the vision fence that they have built into this really does do a good job of avoiding obstacles, including the two-legged kind. The last big pro that I can see, and again, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is just a couple things that have come to my mind, is the time savings. And I think this is really one of the big things where you have to look at the cost versus the time that you normally spend mowing your lawn. So if you look at a $2,500 price tag, you have to look at, well, what's your time worth to you? If you're having to mow 2 to 3 hours a week for a 30-week mowing season, you're looking at 60 to 90 hours a year of just mowing. That's a lot of time. Having something like this can literally buy back almost 2 full weeks of time that you could be spending with your family and doing other things. I mean, this thing's mowing while I'm not even at home. And if you're one of those folks that say, well, mowing is therapeutic for me. Well, there's other things that are therapeutic too that could replace that time, like recoil therapy, maybe. Had to move because the mower is getting on my heels. So not an exhaustive list by any means, but it really did end up changing my mind as to whether or not a robotic mower could work in my yard. And I will tell you right now, I was very pleasantly surprised. So I'm curious, if you guys have ever thought about a robotic mower in your yard, or do you have one, and what do you think about it? If you were skeptical like I was due to obstacles and issues with your lawn, I would suggest that you might want to take a closer look at the X430, because it just might be something that might work for you. So I'm going to leave links down in the description below. I want you to do your own research though. Don't take everything that I say as gospel. You got to look for yourself. You got to do the homework for yourself. But you might be pleasantly surprised, just like I was. So I'm going to have to get to some weed whacking because I've neglected it for the last several weeks. So with that, I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all stay safe, stay cool, and we'll catch up with you later.
Please keep a safe distance.